Good day everyone, how are you all doing? This is Yix here, Magnet Crypto, and welcome back to another video. So in today's video I want to talk about something macro related, macroeconomic, something I'm actually very interested in. So I wanted to do a little video with that kind of perspective in mind. And so we're going to look at a few clips from an interview by Anthony Popliano, where he interviews a very intelligent macro investor, one of my personal favorites, as he is very good at explaining the macro landscape in a very coherent fashion. So I quite like him myself. And the thing in particular that this video is going to be on is CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, and its future. So without further ado, let's get straight into the video and have a look at these clips. So they're very short clips, just to illustrate. Now bear in mind that Raoul Pol, this guy over here, is a top macro investor, and he is very close with the billionaire macro investors. So he is amongst the network of the big dons in the macro investing space. These are billionaires, people like Stan Druckenmiller, people like Paul Tudor Jones, etc., etc. So his insight is of the highest level. So whenever he talks, you just have to listen and take it all in. He is saying everything that he's saying with the knowledge that he's getting from all the other, sorry, my light just turned off, from all the other macro investors that dictate, a lot of the economic landscape. When they make a trade, the market moves. That's how powerful they are. So let's have a look at what he says firstly.
But then the big one is coming, and that's the death of the currency market. That's something that I've been talking about. If that goes, then macro is finished, because currency, like bonds, is enormous.
So firstly, he's talking about the death of the currency market. And what he means by that is currency as we know it, non-digital, just normal fiat currency that the banks print. You're talking about cash, notes, even, the fiat currency that we know of in our bank accounts. That is what he's talking about when he's talking about the death of currency. So let's move over to the next clip.
Currency. What it is creating a currency basket of which currencies move around and change their weights within it. So it's more like the S&P than it is.
So earlier, in between these two clips, what he's basically talking about is the IMF want to create essentially a one world currency. Now you might have heard of this before, but the IMF have actually written papers on this, talking about this, and it'll be similar to what the Libra project is trying to do, which, as he said, is like a basket of currencies, and then it's pegged to this one world currency. However, in terms of how it's managed, individual countries will still have their own interest rates that they can maneuver.
Let's say they do this. Let's say to be a member nation of this bank corp. So to be a member, let's say, okay, all members are allowed to print 50% of GDP this year. After you do that, you're limited to 2% money supply growth. Or if not, you're out of the basket, so you get worse trade terms.
So that's another interesting thing that he mentioned, potentially how it could be run. So, what that is a more central control area. So at the moment, individual countries have control of how the economy is run, how the finances are run, the printing of, their currencies. But if the IMF become the top leaders in the space, the central authority, then this whole one world order really is starting to take shape, because as he said, they could tell everyone, okay, now you can print 50% of your GDP, and the next year you can, max have 2% growth rate. So this is potentially where the world is leading to, and a lot of conspiracy theories have spoken about this one world order, and there is actual plans for this happening now, which is a bit scary in a sense that they're going to have a lot of power. And also with these CBDCs, they're going to have even more control over what you do. They'll have more access to kind of in terms of data, what you're purchasing. They'll be able to control your behavior a lot more, the same way the likes of Facebook and Twitter can influence your behavior with social media by creating certain features, by having AI. I don't know if you've seen Social Dilemma, but by having AI kind of push you in certain directions, make you, essentially almost addicted to your social media by continuously watching videos that you like to watch and taking you down different rabbit holes. So that's the kind of control that they're going to have with CBDCs, and that's going to link up into the central IMF. So they're essentially going to have a lot of control over how the world moves. That's where we're going.
Not in many ways, but in terms of supply. Now, will nations cheat? Will it all go wrong? Of course, they're central banks, of course.
And that's another thing. He's laughing because we all know it. They've always got ill intent, at the end of the day. Not necessarily ill intent, but they will misuse the power. And crypto, things like Bitcoin, is the alternative to this, considering or assuming that they don't ban it. But crypto would be the alternative to CBDCs, central bank digital currencies. Let's continue.
This is an Overton window. Basically, anything is up for grabs, much like it was after the 1930s when all of these institutions were built, and after World War II too. Anything can happen right now. And this is fascinating. This whole central bank digital currency thing, that's going to lead us into a whole new world.
Again, new world order. We're heading into a point where it's the unknown. We don't know where we're going now. However, what we do know is there's going to be a lot more centralized power with the likes of the IMF pushing the buttons. Obviously, you still got probably the elites, but that's more conspiracy theory. Let's not go there. But it's not a conspiracy theory, in that there will be a Libra-like world currency, one world global currency.
In a world like that, what does it mean for emerging markets? It's probably exceptional. Because let's say you're South Africa, you get killed every time the dollar goes up and you can't export your goods and all of that sort of stuff. But if you have a stable currency to trade in, well, you're going to do much better. So it's probably incredibly positive for emerging markets.
And that's the, one of the positives from this. There's always two sides to every, thing. And as he says, the positives is for emerging markets in that they will have the same currency as others, and it will be better for them from the trading perspective, which is a very good thing. They do need that assistance. So if they can get an advantage from this, that would be fantastic. So let's have a look at what's happening in China, as they've been leading the lines when it comes to digital, or when it comes to CBDCs, digital Yuan in this case. So what they've done is a very large online retailer called JD.com has accepted or agreed to be the first virtual mall to use digital yuan. Let's read on. As some nations still dabble on the idea of launching its own central bank digital currency, China has doubled down on testing the digital yuan, and JD.com has agreed to begin testing. According to the Bloomberg report, the e-commerce giant JD will launch a pilot program by the end of December, enabling customers to purchase certain items with the digital yuan. Furthermore, JD plans to issue 100,000 digital yuan, digital cash currency vouchers worth 20 million yuan on December 11th to stimulate residents of the Suzhou city in the eastern province of Jiangsu to engage with the innovative currency. Become the first virtual mall to enable digital yuan usage as part of its JD digits. And that was this is after what happened earlier this year when they sent $1.5 billion worth of digital yuan to 50,000 Shenzhen citizens to use the funds for everyday purchases. So you're understanding that this race is heating up very fast. Now they've actually started to get people to use it. They're creating incentives for them to use it, and this trend is going to move over to the US, to the EU, to the rest of the Western world. They will incentivize us to use CBDCs in whatever way they can. Online shopping obviously is the main thing. They're going to literally copy and paste what you're seeing with digital yuan in China. The reason why I played the few clips from the interview is, where is it all leading? And that's towards this new world currency, this global currency that the IMF are putting forward. They will be pulling the strings at the end of the day. And the only alternative is cryptocurrency, which is decentralized compared to the centralized world currency. So this is another reason to make sure that you hold on for dear life with the currency, digital currency that you have, because we're heading for that new world order, and you want to have an alternative. You want to have another option in case you don't want to be controlled with all these rules that that new world order will have. So that will be it for this video. I hope you got some value from that and you understand where this is all heading. So see you in the next video. Peace.